Good afternoon, or good morning in some parts of the country. This is Rant Media. Usually this streaming forum is used to talk to Texas congressional candidates, but today I'm here with Niagara Falls Mayor Paul Dyster. Mayor Dyster, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for coming to Niagara Falls.
Yeah, definitely. So we're coming live from the Niagara Falls Underground Railroad Heritage Center. So why don't you tell me a little bit about what that is?
Well, the Heritage Center was opened by the Niagara Falls National Heritage Area and the Niagara Falls Underground Railroad Heritage Commission just this May. It's located in a Civil War era customs house building adjacent to the new Niagara Falls International Rail Station on the line between New York City and Toronto. And it's at a place where, using the suspension bridge that was located here in the 1850s, Harriet Tubman helped get runaway slaves across to Canada and freedom before the American Civil War. So we now have a brand new interactive interpretive center that tells the story of Harriet Tubman, but also of some local figures, John Morrison and others attached to the story of the Cataract Hotel here in Niagara Falls. And these are some Underground Railroad stories that aren't well known yet nationally, that we think over the course of the next 5 to 10 years are eventually going to receive a lot of attention.
No, certainly. And just moving past that, Niagara Falls is one of the tourism capitals of America. New stuff popping up. Looks like every time I come back here, new stuff. What's an average day for you, just being the mayor of Niagara Falls?
I don't know that there is such a thing as an average day for the mayor of Niagara Falls, but it's certainly interesting. You have got a city here of 50,000 people that just on the U.S. side alone welcomes something like 9 million visitors annually. So at any given time, we've got people from every country of the world here in Niagara Falls. And, when we raise the rainbow flag for Pride Month, it's not just a symbol of our commitment to LGBTQ causes. It's also a way of saying, we're open for business for people of all races, creeds, colors, and nationalities from all around the world every day of the year.
And I have to ask, just, we are at Niagara Falls. How much of your job is waterfall related?
I'm guessing that roughly half of what I do has something to do with being located in Niagara Falls, and the other half is the mundane stuff that you have to do in any city, right? Make sure that the garbage gets picked up, make sure that the police and fire bells are answered, make sure the snow gets plowed in the winter, and so on. But it's certainly a very interesting city to be the mayor of, with all the international visitors, and then of course we're right on the Canadian border. We're sitting roughly 200 yards from the Canadian border where we are right now as we film.
Now, let me ask you this. In this era we live in, partisan rancor at the federal level, what we got going on up there, how important is it that local governments like yours function effectively?
I think it's very, very important. And, I'm the past president of an organization called the Great Lakes St. Lawrence Cities Initiative. It was jointly founded by then Mayor of Toronto, Dave Miller, and Richard Daley, the younger, who was then Mayor of Chicago, so that cities could reach across the international border to work on issues of mutual concern. Well, Dave Miller now is the North American director for the Paris Accords effort, as individual cities are making commitments to climate change, working around a federal government that in the case of the United States doesn't seem to take the issue very seriously. So, this idea about thinking globally, acting locally, that was a slogan. I think now it's a plan of action for mayors across the country and for mayors internationally as well.
Certainly. Now let me ask you this. I know you're the Democratic mayor of Niagara Falls. Western New York, when you look at some of the numbers, it looks like parts of it are going more Republican, more red. We have going to have a special election coming up with Nate McMurray for a Chris Collins seat. Do you think Democrats can still win in Western New York?
I think so. I think that you have to be culturally sensitive to the place where you're running. We have a situation here where you have blue cities surrounded by a largely red countryside. But I think that there are examples of candidates coming in both directions that have managed, I think, to moderate their message and appeal to a broad enough base that they've been able to get themselves elected. In this case, because there's a scandal surrounding Chris Collins, I think that there's an added element, on the Democratic side that wouldn't have been there before. There's an opportunity for the Democrat to run as the law and order candidate, and I think that could be an effective message for Nate McMurray. He's a relative newcomer to politics, but that means he doesn't have any baggage either. So I think it's going to be a really interesting race to see unfold as the fall goes on.
Certainly. Any predictions for that race?
Oh, we're going to win, of course.
So So let me ask you this. When I was looking at your Twitter, looking at some of the stuff you've done recently for research for this interview, I saw that there's some major redevelopment that's possibly going to be taking place in downtown Niagara Falls. I think to the tune of $25 million, something like that.
Yeah, the announcement yesterday, the board of USA Niagara Development Corporation, which is an economic development arm of the state, they're going to purchase 32 properties that have been owned by a local businessman for the better part of 20 years. And he's tried but not been successful in redeveloping those properties. It's such a large number of properties in the downtown core that it's really historic. Not since the days of urban renewal have there been so many parcels available for redevelopment at the same time. As you say, we've had a lot of growth and a lot of investment in downtown Niagara Falls. The tourism economy is growing. We've been running out of sites to show potential new investors. Now the catalog just grew, right? And I think it's going to be very, very exciting to see what happens.
Attention Amtrak passengers, business class tipping is the last stop of the train.
Not so far.
Coach is forward to the cafe car at a boarding location specified by your conductor.
We are in a live train station here, so
let me ask you this. What would you consider your greatest accomplishment as mayor of Niagara Falls?
I think the greatest accomplishment was the issue that I ran on when I first ran for city council back in 1999. That's getting the state to agree to remove the Robert Moses Parkway. Now you might ask, why would you remove a parkway? If you know the history of Robert Moses, and as anyone who studied public administration has probably had to read Robert Carroll's thick book, The Power Broker, he ran roughshod over a lot of what we would consider to be the principles today of smart growth. Here in Niagara Falls, he built an expressway that cut the whole city off from its greatest asset, which is the waterfront. And it's taken us decades, but finally we're investing the tens of millions of dollars that are required to remove the expressway. And that's going to allow us to expand the park to the greatest extent since it was created in 1885. And we're really, really proud of that. It's going to improve the quality of life for our residents, and it's going to make the visitor experience much better as well.
Certainly. And I got to thank the mayor for joining me today. If you want to keep up with what's going on in Niagara Falls, you can follow the mayor at P. Dyster. You can follow Rant Media by clicking the top left of your screen. I'm Matthew Reyna. Thank you so much for joining me today. Appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
Thank you.